Holy crap, guys. Yes, you read the title right. Yes, we're going to talk about this. We're going to get into it. We're going to open up this Pandora's box and shove my foot right in it. Also, possibly shooting my YouTube channel in the foot in the process. Whatever. I do what I want. Why is Harley-Davidson dying? First off, let me preface this entire conversation with the fact that I don't dislike Harley-Davidson. I like a lot of their motorcycles, especially the Crossbones. Hashtag I love Crossbones. I like a lot of their motorcycles. I like a lot of people that ride Harley-Davidsons. I have a lot of friends that ride Harley. I love the communities that Harley-Davidson builds with their riders, the lifestyle. I love all of that. And I think there's a lot of things Harley-Davidson does right and has done right for a really long time. However, there's a lot of things that Harley-Davidson has absolutely been effing up for years. And yes, it is slowly killing the company. So let's get into it. First off, massive shout out to a motorcycle YouTuber who is way bigger than me named FortNine. A few days ago, he did a video about this same topic, and I'm glad he did because I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. And since he just did it, he did a way better job with way higher production qualities and everything than I could possibly pull off at this point. He put a lot of research into it, a lot of energy. If you have not seen his video, go watch it. The video's titled something like How Harley-Davidson Killed Itself, or How Harley-Davidson is Killing Itself. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's How Harley-Davidson Killed Itself. I'm sure you've already seen it because he's way bigger than me. His video's got a ton of views already, but if you have not seen it, go watch FortNine's video, How Harley-Davidson Killed Itself. Because he basically goes into a lot of the same stuff that I'm about to talk about, but does it very in-depth with very high production quality. I love the way he shot that video, like in the field with doing the screens in the sides of the train cars. If you ever see this FortNine, which you probably won't, awesome job, man. Fantastic video. Moving on. Basically what he got into in that video and what I'm going to get into is the fact that Harley-Davidson, we all know Harley-Davidson's biggest motorcycle manufacturer, best-selling motorcycles in the United States, right? Like Harley-Davidson for a long time pretty much has just crushed everyone else as far as total US sales of motorcycles. However, Harley-Davidson has been royally messing up several things for decades, and it has really started to catch up to them in more modern times. First off, it is not a secret, it is an actual fact. If you're a Harley fan or a Harley dealer or work for a Harley dealer and you just want to stick your head in the sand and you don't want to believe any of this, now's your time to abandon ship. But Harley-Davidson has been propping up and manipulating their stock values, their value as a company, and their profitability for years now. As someone who worked in the motorcycle industry and has known several people that worked at Harley dealers and a lot of that kind of stuff, I can tell you from personal experience, Harley-Davidson is not and has not been as financially healthy as they lead on for several years now. And that's just a bad way to start everything off. But Harley-Davidson has been manipulating their own financial health for years now. Again, FortNine goes really deep into that, but they have been for years now. Harley-Davidson has, over the decades, taken government assistance and government protection on several occasions. Now, a good, healthy company who is making good products at an affordable price should not have to accept protection or help from the government against foreign competition. What I mean by that is, if you're an American manufacturer or any country, if you're a manufacturer in your country and you are making a good product at a reasonable price, you should not need protection from or help from your government to help protect you against foreign competition. The only reason that someone would buy a foreign product versus a domestic product is if that foreign product was either A, way better than the domestic product, or B, way cheaper than the domestic product, cheap enough to account for the fact that it wasn't as good, or both of those things put together. So as Harley-Davidson, the only reason that you would need protection from the government against foreign competition, which they have asked for and received more than once, is if you are making a product that is either not as good as the foreign one, or is just way more expensive than the foreign competition and can't compete, or a combination of those two things. Add in on top of that the bailouts that Harley-Davidson has received at least once that I know of, possibly more than once, and you're starting to see the picture of a company that maybe is not in as healthy of a position as you would be led to believe, especially for the fact that they sell so many motorcycles in the United States and have for so many years. Probably the biggest area, though, that Harley-Davidson has just been royally screwing up for a long time now is seducing and making themselves more appealing to and converting younger riders. It's no secret that Harley-Davidson's main customer base, main rider focus, has been aging for a while now. You know, back in the day, their average rider would be in their 30s or 40s. Now their average rider is in their 60s and beyond for the most part, which there's nothing wrong with. I know plenty of riders that are in their 60s and beyond that ride all the time and are some of my favorite people to ride with. I'm just saying, as people get older, they probably tend to buy less motorcycles year after year after year. And if your rider base is aging, you're not gaining those new riders, you're not going to continue to maintain the numbers that you have to begin with, much less expand to even more riders buying your products. Harley-Davidson really started messing this up the first time that they tried, which to me, the first time they really tried was their acquisition of Buell, and when Harley-Davidson owned and ran the Buell company with Eric Buell. You know, Buell made some really, really interesting, but definitely divisive and kind of weird motorcycles. I'm saying it as someone who loved Buell motorcycles. I had multiple Buell XB12 series motorcycles myself. So they were definitely on the weird side, and Eric did some very weird things design-wise, but they definitely appealed to younger riders in that more sport bike and street fighter urban category. But unfortunately, with Harley-Davidson's perspective, Buell sold so many fewer motorcycles than Harley-Davidson's branded core motorcycles, and were so much less profitable because they weren't anywhere near as expensive, that Harley-Davidson ended up making a kind of financial decision to ixnay Buell in 2010. You know, especially from 2008 to 2010 when Buell started doing the 1125 series, which started winning some races and really was gaining popularity with younger riders because, to be honest, that 1125 Rotax motor was way better than the redesigned Sportster motors they were using previously. And you're talking about someone who had XB12s with the redesigned Sportster motor and actually really, really loved those. But objectively, that 1125 motor was way better, winning races, gaining ground with younger riders. Harley, one, was mad at Buell because Buell wasn't selling anywhere near as many motorcycles as Harley wanted it to, and B, was mad at Buell for using a not Harley-Davidson motor in the 1125s. So 2010, Harley ixnays Buell, that's that. Shoots themselves in the foot with younger riders for the first time. Then, Harley-Davidson made a massive initiative to make some motorcycles in their core line to attract younger riders. Bikes like Sportster 72s, Iron 883s, Sportster 48s. I think in some ways the Crossbones kind of did that too, but that was more expensive. But a lot of those Sportsters that had more of that bobber slash urban slash whatever you want to call it kind of a feel to them were definitely made to attract younger riders, entry-level riders, get people into the Harley family, Harley ecosystem, right? Unfortunately, what Harley failed to realize was a lot of those motorcycles were just too expensive and not attractive enough to younger riders. I can tell you from the years that I spent in the motorcycle industry, your younger riders getting into riding and everything are very sensitive, for the most part, to motorcycles under $10,000. I can't tell you how many times, if you could get a motorcycle that was attractive to a younger rider for under $8,000 to $10,000, you had a way, way better chance of getting that person onto that bike into motorcycling and having them be able to afford it, not worry about it, ride it, have a good time. The fact that for years now, a brand new Harley-Davidson Sportster that's worth a damn has been over $10,000, kind of a major problem. There's no reason for a Sportster, brand new, to cost more than $10,000, okay? They've been making those things for years. They've had all the tooling, all the moldings, all the everything. They are not trying to do anything crazy revolutionary with Sportsters, okay? They know how to make Sportsters. They can crank Sportsters out there. Sportsters do not need to be $10,000 plus brand spanking new, okay? So Harley-Davidson failed to capture younger riders with their custom bike-ish, bobberish, urban Sportster lines, okay? They just didn't do it. Failed. Then, Harley-Davidson makes the brilliant idea to try to get into the electric motorcycle world. Cool. Good on you. Electric motorcycles may be the future. Great job, Harley-Davidson. Let's just go to the more recent times with the Harley Livewire series. You've made an impressive, awesome-looking electric motorcycle that also has killer performance, premium parts, amazing piece of electric motorcycle hardware, right? It's expensive. The damn thing's like $30,000 or whatever. Again, younger riders, even the ones looking for electric motorcycles, they're very sensitive to buying motorcycles over $10,000. I can tell you from personal experience, even with the Zero brand, and most Zero motorcycles are half as much as the Harley is. At the point where I could get Zeros for under about 12 or 10 to $12,000, if you can get them under that, you had a way better chance, way better success rate with getting younger riders interested in electric motorcycles, even from Zero, okay? So the Livewire was just too expensive. It looks amazing. It puts out the performance numbers. It's an impressive piece of machinery, but it's too expensive. It is not going to do the job of seducing and building the younger rider base. They're going to have to put out motorcycles, electric motorcycles, or any kind of motorcycle that's attractive to young people and is actually affordable. So they have not done a good job at all of getting the younger rider on board, which is they're not going to be able to proceed well into the future if they can't figure out and can't do a realistic job of getting younger riders into Harley-Davidson. And getting people who don't ride at all and don't really have an interest into riding, trying to convert them into riders is much harder and much more of a terrible freaking plan than just trying to convert some younger riders over to Harley-Davidson to begin with. Now let's throw into the mix the fact that for years and years and years, Harley-Davidson overproduced their motorcycles. They've started slowing that down a little bit because of the trouble in sales they've had for the last couple of years, but for a long time, Harley-Davidson was so overproducing their motorcycles. I'm talking like through the early to mid 2000s especially, and even late 2000s, so overproduced their motorcycles that when I would go to NPA auctions, big motorcycle auctions, if there were 1,500 bikes there, 1,100 of them were Harley-Davidsons, okay? Harley-Davidson cranked motorcycles out. They used, honestly, very shady financing practices and very shady trade-in practices at dealers to get people to trade to brand new Harley-Davidsons every year or two. They made way too many motorcycles. They used a lot of really weird practices to get people to trade up every couple of years to a brand new Harley-Davidson, even if it really wasn't a better Harley-Davidson. Oh, your Street Glide's got 15,000 miles on it. It's tried to trade up to a brand new one at $28,000 or $23,000. So what you end up with is you end up with a market that A, is just flooded with brand new Harley-Davidsons at every single Harley-Davidson dealer, and they're just trying to cram brand new ones down everybody's throat. B, the market ends up flooded with tons and tons of used Harley-Davidsons at reasonable prices, way, way cheaper, thousands of dollars cheaper than you can possibly buy a brand new one. So if you can buy a used Harley-Davidson with a 103 motor in it that is just as good as a brand new Harley-Davidson, objectively speaking, why would you spend $25,000 on a brand new Harley-Davidson when you could get a used Harley-Davidson with low mileage for $14,000? Hello. While we're on that subject, let's talk about Harley and their financing and trade-in practices for a while, because I worked in the industry. I have many friends that work at Harley dealers. I can tell you for a fact, for a long time now, Harley, with their first-party financing options, have been financing a lot of people that have no business, and I mean no business, trying to pay $400 or $500 a month for a Harley-Davidson, okay? I've known way too many people with low credit scores that do not make enough money to afford that kind of a payment that Harley-Davidson has been like, yeah, sure, absolutely, let's go ahead and trade in. We'll just tack in your negative equity on top of your new motorcycle. You know, here's your Street Glide. That'll be $560 a month. Because of that, you've had a lot of repos in the Harley world. You've had a lot of people just giving up their Harley-Davidsons or just sunk in them and now are just going to pay for that Harley for the next 10 freaking years. Harley-Davidson has got to calm down on pushing so many new bikes, ramming them down dealers' throats to make dealers come up with weird creative ways to get people financed on stuff that they really can't afford, okay? When you start wrapping all this stuff together, you start to get a pretty good picture of why Harley-Davidson is slowly dying. And I'm sorry, guys, Harley fans out there, I don't want to see it either. But right now, without a major turnaround, Harley-Davidson is slowly dying, okay? Made too many motorcycles for too long. The market is flooded with it. They haven't done a very good job of getting younger riders in and bringing them into the Harley world, the Harley ecosystem, and the Harley family. They've been manipulating their own financial stuff for so long now that if they actually were to come out and be truthful about it, it would look really bad. But at some point, you just have to bite that bullet and go, okay, here's our actual financial health. We're going to stop buying back our own stocks right now. We're going to stop propping everything up. Here's the real situation Harley-Davidson is in, especially when you look at the amount of debt load that Harley has sitting out there in financed motorcycles right now that they themselves have subsidized the financing on. Throw all that stuff together, you really get a good idea of, yes, Harley-Davidson is slowly dying right now, and I would love to see it turn around. This entire video, and I think the point of FortNine's video too, I hope so, but this entire video really has tried to be, it's constructive criticism. If you work for Harley-Davidson, you love Harley-Davidson, now is the time to really start shaping all this stuff up, produce less motorcycles, find ways to get them more affordable for more people, instead of relying on overinflated financing and just get people sunk in $500 motorcycle payments. Start relying on building better bikes for less money and just do it the way it should be done. Manufacturing, if you're making a good product at a reasonable price, you have a much better chance of standing on your own 2 feet, and you don't need to worry about foreign competition so much because they have to ship the motorcycles in. So I hope Harley-Davidson can turn it around. I love the concept and the idea of a good, strong American motorcycle manufacturer. I would love to see more of them. Unfortunately, most American motorcycle manufacturers are much smaller, much more niche. They build amazing things, but they're expensive. I would love the idea of a large-scale manufacturer like Harley-Davidson making motorcycles in the United States that are affordable, they last, they're not expensive to work on, which unfortunately Harley-Davidson's, if you take them to a Harley dealer, it's expensive to work on. I would love an American motorcycle manufacturer that worked more like a Japanese manufacturer does, where they make really, really nice bikes that last a long time with low maintenance costs that don't cost a whole lot of money to begin with. So that's it, guys. Another big shout out to FortNine. Go watch his video if you haven't seen it yet. Again, he did a much, much better job than I can possibly do, because he can do way better production values than I can right now. He put a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of research in his video. He did a great job. I'm not trying to detract from his whatsoever. I just wanted to give my 2 cents and opinion and confirm what he was talking about, just in a general discussion sense. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Let's have a conversation about it in the comments below. Again, I don't hate Harley-Davidson. I actually like Harley-Davidson. I would just like to see them shape up and quit acting a fool and quit trying to just spit hundreds of thousands of motorcycles down everyone's throats every year and get back to being a good, responsible manufacturer that makes awesome motorcycles at an affordable price and builds that Harley-Davidson community and that whole sense of family that a lot of Harley-Davidson groups have, okay? That's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm Alex. Peace.